Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Foxy New.
Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Now we got more breaking news for you. We got Leo Santa Cruz. Now basically he's done a recent interview with Fight Hype and states that he'll be fighting his next fight in November of this year. He'll be either fighting in Los Angeles or Las Vegas. So that's great news for you fight fans. And he would also like to have Carl Frampton right after that. A little bit about Leo, if you don't know, he's 35-1 with one draw, with 19 knockouts. He's an elite fighter. He's coming off of a unanimous decision win over 12 rounds against Abner Mares, and that was earlier this year. Typically, he fights about 2 times a year, and he's consistent with building up his name and his recognition. Now, with his Carl Frampton fight, he's already fought Carl Frampton prior and Abner Mares prior. He's fought Carl Frampton twice. He's beat him once, and he's lost once. And that was his first loss of his career to a majority decision loss to Carl Frampton in 2016. 2017, he bounced back with a majority decision win. There's some talk that fight could end up overseas, or it could still be here in Los Angeles. And this is why I love Leo Santa Cruz, because he does not duck the big fights. He's an elite fighter, and he's consistently active. Now, what I don't like is what I've been hearing from a lot of fanboys is that Gary Russell Jr. needs to be next. And my thing is, why? Why? Now, I understand that would be a good fight between Gary Russell Jr. and Leo Santa Cruz. Don't get me wrong. But, come on. You don't want to try to force his hand or say he's ducking or he's scared or anything. Let me give you a little bit about Gary Russell Jr. Gary Russell Jr. is 29-1 with 17 knockouts. He's a very good fighter. I give him that. But he's very inactive. He's fought once this year, a unanimous decision win with Joseph Diaz. He's fought one last year, a knockout of Oscar Escandon. And he's fought one 2016 with Patrick Hyland, a knockout. And he's fought one 2015 against Johnny Gonzalez, and that was a knockout in the 4th round as well. So at least for the last 3 years or so, this guy's been fighting once a year. He's a very inactive fighter. As you see, Leo Santa Cruz fights at least twice a year. And you have to understand that all Al Haymon fighters are not made equals. So if you look at it like this, Leo Santa Cruz has built up his name, become a brand, a fan favorite, and has a very fan-pleasing fighting style. On the opposite end, you have a guy like Gary Russell Jr., who has not built up his name, who's a very good fighter, very technical, and has very elite boxing skills. So it's not that I don't like Gary Russell Jr. I do. I think he's one of the best fighters in the world. Unfortunately, he has no brand. He's too inactive, and that's partially due to him being with Al Haymon. Now, I know what you're going to say. Yeah, I know. Leo Santa Cruz is with Al Haymon, but let me show you the difference. For one, Leo Santa Cruz has a fan base that follows him for 2 specific reasons. One, Leo Santa Cruz fights big name opponents, Carl Frampton, Abner Mares. Second, Leo Santa Cruz is much more active, always putting his skills on display. On the opposite end, Gary Russell Jr. is very inactive and is not used to taking those bigger fights. So if that's the case, how can you blame Leo Santa Cruz for himself being a brand and Gary Russell not? He's basically promoting himself. Al Haymon is not. And so it's very simple when you look at it like that. This is why you need guys like Eddie Hearn. This is why you need Dazin. This is why you need the Bob Arums. You need these promoters to build certain guys. Not every guy needs a promoter. Leo Santa Cruz doesn't seem to need a promoter because he's done well with establishing himself with the big fights and with also being consistently active. Gary Russell needs a fight schedule to be consistently active, to guide his career in a direction, to make him a household and a big brand name. That's the difference. Open your fucking eyes. Leo Santa Cruz is in no situation where he needs to fight any one particular guy. He can pick and choose who he would like to fight. He's not ducking or scared of anyone. He's an elite fighter, and he's proven that time and time again. On the other hand, Gary Russell is the guy that needs the big fights. He's the one that has a lot to prove. He's the one who's lost to Vasily Lomachenko. He's the one who needs a good fight. So he's the one who needs to be doing everything in his power to get those fights. So whether that's coming out with a promoter, whether that's being more active, fighting multiple times a year, or whether that's even moving up another weight class, Gary Russell Jr. needs to do something to attract the attention of boxing fans. Don't put that shit on Leo Santa Cruz. He's a very good fighter who's very active, who's very smart, and he's doing very well for himself. All Al Haymon fighters are not made equal. Remember that. Once again, it's the IBFP. Please share, like, and subscribe.